Hi, and welcome to another video. Today I have a fun challenge. I'm going to be letting a spinner wheel choose how many pages I'm reading in a day, and then I'm going to be doing it over 5 days. I'm really excited for this, but a little bit apprehensive because if I get 300 pages right off the bat, I'm going to have to absolutely lock in to complete this challenge. But hopefully the spinner wheel gods will be good to me and I'll start off a little bit easier. I went ahead and already added the numbers to a spinner wheel by increments of 25 up to 300, which I think is a good amount. But now that I'm like looking at it, these are all pretty big numbers. That being said, I will be allowing myself to do audiobook for this as well and just transferring that to page numbers because I work a full-time job and I have lots of other little things going on. I feel like I will not be able to complete this challenge if I don't allow myself at least some audiobook time. However, I'm going to try to read as much as I can physically, like especially with the lower numbers, just because I think that's the more entertaining and difficult part of the challenge anyway. So with all that being said, I will go ahead and spin the wheel and we will get our first page number for our first challenge. Okay, I think I just, let me do it like this. I think I just tap it. I hope that's in frame. Oh, there we go. Ah, 25. Okay, that's such a good number. Okay, I know it's definitely going to be more interesting if I got a big number, but I was really worried because I want to complete it, I want to do it, but if I got 300 right off the bat, I was going to be really scared. So 25 is I think the perfect way to start this. Very happy with that. And yeah, I'm going to get into some reading. It's way too late for a little Diet Coke, but it's already flat. I know it's like kind of gross, but I don't really care about flat soda, to be honest. I'm a soda freak, unfortunately, and I just want a little sip of something. Honestly, I feel like I should get like decaffeinated sodas because I do like having them as a little treat. But yes, I know that I should not have this late, but what can you do? Okay, I'm gonna start by reading Wuthering Heights. Since we only have 25 pages, I feel like that's gonna be at least a chapter, maybe more, maybe less, honestly, but I'll at the very least finish a chapter, depending on what it is. I think I need to move my bookmark because I've been also listening to this a little bit, so I need to find out where I left off. I'm really enjoying this so far though. I chose it because yes, the movie's coming out, but also this has been on my TBR for a really long time. I really enjoyed Jane Eyre in the sense of like that dark, kind of atmospheric, gothic classic. For the same reason, I also really like Frankenstein, and I feel like that's definitely, I need to follow that path and continue reading books that have that kind of vibe. So we're not so far into it, but I find this less difficult than some other classics, honestly. I know some people I think have difficulty with it. I know there's one character who's supposed to have I think a Yorkshire accent, and his sentences, his dialogue is pretty much unreadable. But sometimes I just look up what he's saying because it's usually only like a line or two. My heart kind of breaks for baby Heathcliff right now and the way he's being treated. And I am glad that he at least has one person on his side. I believe her name is Nellie, if I'm not mistaken. I'm glad that she at least can kind of look after him. And the scene, I've gotten to the scene where she is thinking about how Catherine's father passed away and that he really didn't want Heathcliff to be neglected and treated unfairly after his death. And Nellie was kind of thinking that that's exactly what was happening. And she started crying, and I'm like, oh, my heart. And I am very intrigued to see how that kind of relationship dynamic or how that kind of environment shapes him into the person we saw in the beginning of the book and also later on, I assume. And while I know that the main focus of this book is not a romance, and as much as the movie wants to portray that, I am really curious to see how Catherine and his relationship evolves, and especially with her and the Lintons versus Heathcliff and all the drama with the children. But I will be reading the 25 pages. I think I can just read the whole 25 pages right now I mean, that's like, I feel like literally that might not be even a full chapter. But yeah, let's get into it. Okay, I've just finished my 25 pages, which actually ended up being 31, just because that's where the chapter ended. But yeah, I feel like I'm at a really good point in the book. I feel like things are starting to pick up a ton, and I'm really enjoying it so far. I really love all the character. I mean, love is a strong word, but I'm just like very intrigued by their like personalities. Like Catherine to me is so interesting. I feel like she feels relatable in a sense, in the way that like she feels like a girl that could be a 20-year-old girl today and not, you know, during this time period, in a good way. What really got me was, okay, so the first of all, oh, and actually let me also say I love Nellie. I think she's so funny. She's so real. I'm like, you know what? We all need a Nellie in our lives to like keep us real and keep us genuine. But she's so funny. I just love her commentary. I love that the story is being told through her right now, because she's just like honestly funny. Like the part where Catherine is asking her if she made the right decision to marry Edgar Linton, and she's like, what do you love about him? And or no, she goes, why do you love him, Miss Kathy? And Catherine says, nonsense, I do. That's sufficient. And Nellie says, by no means, you must say why. Well, because he's handsome and pleasant to be with. Bad was my commentary. And because he is young and cheerful. Bad still. And because he loves me. Indifferent coming there. And he will be rich, and I shall like to be the greatest woman in the neighborhood, and I shall be proud of having such a husband. Worst of all, and now say how you love him. I just feel like she's really funny and like a very, just like, she is kind of, I feel like me when I'm reading a book and the characters are doing something and I'm like, why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? I feel like she's the reader, which is honestly kind of accurate because she's telling it from her point of view. She's not technically a main character. She's like viewing all this from an outside perspective. So in a way, it kind of is. But yeah, I love her. And then of course, we got the famous quote, the famous Wuthering Heights quote, which I feel like I've heard like my entire life. Catherine to Nellie says, it would degrade me to marry Heathcliff now, so he shall never know how I love him, and that not because he's handsome, Nellie, but because he's more myself than I am. Whatever our souls are made of, his and mine are the same, and Linton's is as different as a moonbeam from lightning or frost from fire. She goes on to say that she's kind of, another reason she's marrying Linton is to help Heathcliff, and if she has the money from Linton, then she'll be able to like raise Heathcliff's standing. But I mean, I don't know how that's gonna go. I'm intrigued to see, like I said, how their relationship evolves from here. But honestly, that's kind of so heartbreaking. And then when Heathcliff runs away and she like goes out into the rain to like look for him and cry, and then she's like stayed up all night in her wet clothes just to like wait up for him. I'm like, oh God, you're killing me. It's really well written and I'm really engrossed. I feel like I said, I feel like all the characters are really coming to life for me right now, and it's really picking up. So I'm excited to continue this. So since those are my 25 pages, I'm gonna call it for today. I would read more. I have another book that I'm reading on my Kindle that I could read as well, but I need to edit some other videos, so I think I'm gonna call it, and tomorrow we will pick up with a new wheel spin. Okay, welcome back. We are on day 2 of letting a wheel spinner choose how many pages I'm reading today. Yesterday I was very lucky and I got 25 to start off the challenge, which I think was a perfect way of easing into it without having to do, getting too overwhelmed. But today's the second day and we're going to spin our wheel again. Yesterday I actually read 31 pages just because that's where the chapter naturally ended, and I read Wuthering Heights. I'm really liking it so far, and I will probably be reading a little bit more of that today. But also I have another book on my Kindle killer kind of romance that I'll be reading as well, depending on how many pages I get. Okay, and just a reminder, this is out of 300 and it goes up by 25. So let's see what we get. I'm scared. Okay. 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 Not too bad. I mean, honestly, so far it's almost following like a natural progression. Like from 25, okay, 175 is a lot, but it's not as bad as if we got the 200 or the 300. So I'm okay with that. I think what I'm going to do is definitely read a few chapters of Wuthering Heights, read a few chapters of a killer kind of romance, and then I think I am going to read a few or like listen to a few chapters of an audiobook because I have to just clean up and do a few things, so I'll be able to do that. I just need to figure out how I'm going to like translate that into page numbers. I can try to see if there's like a physical copy somewhere that I can just like reference to get the page number. So, all right, not too bad, but definitely a little bit more than yesterday. I guess we should probably get to reading. Okay, I had to do a couple little chores and things around the house and then also shower. So I did listen to a little bit of my audiobook. I started on chapter 74 and read 5 chapters. I'm on 79 now. The chapters are pretty short though, so I didn't really listen for that long. I'm gonna have to figure out how many pages that is. I'm gonna look up a little book to something, like either download it or see if Libby has it or something like that, just so I can see the page numbers. Oh, but this is for the book The One, which is really good. It's a sci-fi thriller horror, and it is crazy. We're following 5 different people who the premise of the book is that you get DNA matched with your like perfect romantic partner. It's like the person that's made for you. And we follow 5 different relationships, yeah, after they're matched. And it's just crazy. Like it started off like, oh, like maybe these people have like this story is really crazy, but this story seems okay. Like maybe now I'm like, these people are they're all messed up. All of them, kind of, honestly. I mean, not messed up, but like their stories are messed up. So I'm like, damn. And I don't think there's gonna be one happy ending. But I mean, it is a sci-fi like horror thriller, so I guess that makes sense. But I'm really liking that so far, and yeah, I feel like it's perfect because I wanted something that was Valentine's adjacent, but also a little spooky. But I really like that. So now I'm going to read a few chapters of Wuthering Heights. But I'm probably gonna finish the night with a killer kind of romance, I think it's called, on my Kindle, just because it's already kind of late and I want to hit my page mark goal, and I think I'll just be able to read that faster than Wuthering Heights. So those are my plans, and yeah, I'm going to get into it. I'm going to just look it up in a second, the page number thing for my audiobook, and I'll let you know by the end. Okay, I've just read 2 more chapters of Wuthering Heights. Wait, make sure this is I just read 2 more chapters of Wuthering Heights. I think I'm going to read 1 more and then switch to my Kindle book, which I did the math, and I think I literally have to read like 110 pages, which is scary. So maybe I'll read 1 more with Wuthering Heights too, like another chapter. But yeah, I have quite a few more pages to get through. But I just wanted to do an update because I don't know if I'll film. I guess I have to film like a closing clip, but it'll just be so late that I'm like, it'll be a short one. But 2, I just want to update about my feelings about Wuthering Heights. I am loving this so far. I like am kind of surprised by how much I like it.
I feel like it's so funny. I get so intimidated by classics and like older books because of the writing, and I feel like it can be a little bit more difficult to understand, and you have to like follow along pretty closely to like understand what exactly is happening because the language is a little bit different. But in reality, this book is just basically like a modern day crazy ass reality or like fiction like a like toxic romance show. Like, I'm loving the drama. Like, I feel like were people back in the day reading this and like being gagged, because I'm gagged now. I'm like, he did what and what? Like, literally Heathcliff and Catherine fighting over the fact that he was like embracing Isabella, and like he wouldn't even admit if he liked her or not. I feel like you can tell he's just doing that to piss off Catherine, and then them beefing about it, and then Edgar Linton coming in and being like, you can't be his friend if you want to like be my wife or be my friend. And she like wouldn't even respond. He's like, what? So what did you like? Is it me or him? Like, you have to choose. And she's like, I'm not responding. I'm like, girl, imagine if your husband is like, please, like, this man, like, you're obviously have a very close relationship with him. Is it me or him? And you being like, well, sorry. That's kind of Bessie, for real. I feel like they're both just kind of a little cuckoo crazy and a little dramatic, and like, I think they probably won't actually end up together, but I think they're gonna make everybody miserable in the process of not being together, if that makes sense. But I do really love it. I'm eating up the drama, unfortunately. But anyways, so I'm gonna read, I think, one more chapter, maybe two, and then move on to my Kindle book and hopefully get through 110 pages, which I'm a little bit scared about. I might, for tomorrow, spin the wheel a little bit earlier in the day because I've been doing it after work. I'm wondering if I can film a clip before, like, on my lunch break, and then read from there. Hello, welcome to day 3 of spinning a wheel to see how many pages I will be reading today. A little update. First of all, this is a few days later. I'm not doing these consecutively, like, in order, because I just have other things going on, unfortunately. So where I left off, I got 175 pages was my goal. I did reach that, and I think I surpassed it by a little bit just because, again, that's where the chapter was naturally ending. But I read several chapters of The One by John Mars on audiobook. I believe I read, I want to say like 7 or 8 chapters, which I think was only about like 30-40 pages maybe. And then I read like 4 or 5 chapters of Wuthering Heights, which was also probably only around like 40-ish pages, maybe a little less, a little more. And then the rest I read a killer kind of romance, and I read like 100 I think in the end it ended up being, I had to read 98 pages to finish the goal, so now actually I will also say that I have finished The One by John Mars. I'll talk about it probably later. I might do a wrap up, but I really enjoyed that one. It took so many turns that I was not expecting, and I really liked reading it. I really liked the audiobook. There were different narrators for each character we were following, storyline we were following, because there was 5 separate couples and storylines. And like at the beginning I was like, oh, there's like one really messed up storyline, like this is so interesting. And then I was like, oh, like actually like a few of these are kind of messed up. And then I was like, oh my god, no one's gonna get a happy ending. I'm like, I thought at the very least we would get one happy couple or one like couple that worked out. And then we eventually did. We actually got 2. But I was like, for a minute there I was like, damn, this is just all gonna be sad and messed up. But it was still really good. Such a unique thriller. Or it was a sci-fi like horror thriller, and it was really good. I think it was just such a fun premise and such an interesting look into that kind of idea, like the idea that there's like this perfect DNA match for somebody else. I think it's so cool. I love that, the science behind that, and I feel like I wouldn't even be surprised if that's something that like actually became a thing in a few years. I feel like with some of the stuff happening with like AI and technology, I just wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, so I really enjoyed that. Still really enjoying Wuthering Heights and reading that. I feel like, again, like I'm really at the like kind of heightening of the conflict and the exposition of the story, and I'm really enjoying that. hopefully I can finish that. Obviously, I want to finish that this month, but I do want to watch the movie, so I'm trying to finish it before I go watch that, which I don't have a set date for that yet, but soon. And then, yes, so now the last thing I read was A Killer Kind of Romance for the challenge. And at first, I wasn't disliking it. I'm just having this kind of issue with romance books where I'm feeling like it's getting a little cookie cutter stereotype. It's like the characters are the same. Some of the story is like kind of the same, or it's honestly less the story itself, like the overarching story, and like the like smaller conflicts throughout. And I'm getting a little tired of it. To be fair, I think the books that I'm picking are geared towards that. Like the books I'm picking are similar to each other in that sense. So is it kind of my fault? Yes. But I don't know. That's like what I know and what I'm comfortable with. Obviously, this is me trying to be. This is the year of me trying to be better about that, and I'm like going outside of my comfort zone. But so that's how I felt before. Now I've actually, since then, I've read more like on my own, not for the challenge, and I'm really liking it more now. I do think part of the reason I'm liking it a lot though is the overarching storyline. It's about a girl who, I think I've said this, but it's about a girl who runs a fiction true crime podcast, or I guess not true crime, but it's like she's talking about true crime fictional books on her podcast. And then like in her town, these murders actually start taking place, like the ones she's talking about in her books. And then obviously there's a huge romance element, but I kind of really like the overarching serial killer storyline just because I think it brings something interesting and different, which is my issue, to the book that, you know, we don't normally see in romance books, obviously. So I'm really enjoying that. The characters have grown on me. I do like them. Do I think they're still a little bit absolutely ridiculous and stereotypical and just not realistic at all? Yeah. But I don't think that every book has to be realistic. I don't think most books have to be realistic or believable, really. I mean, it is fiction, so it makes sense that I wouldn't do some of these things, but like it's not me, it's not real life, so I get it. So I am liking it more. I've read quite a few more chapters, and I think whatever my number I get today, I will probably definitely be reading that first and maybe finishing it. I think I'm almost done. And then I do want to pick up, I don't know if I'm going to go to the library today. I would like to. We'll see how things align. But I want to pick up my last TBR book that I haven't started yet, which is Between the World and Me, I think. I don't know why I keep forgetting the name. But I want to see if maybe the library has that. I did get it on Libby, like just like a Kindle copy, which is fine, but I kind of want it in a physical copy. I don't know why. I just feel like I want to hold it. So if I do go to the library and do that, I mean, even if I don't, I have it on my Kindle, but I'll want to read a chapter or two of that today as well, because I just haven't started it yet, and I need to start moving on that to make sure I finish it on my TBR. And then finally, my last TBR book, which was kind of an extra from my TBR video. Like I had picked 3 and then I chose one more as kind of like in case I finish everything else. I'm just like not that interested in right now. It's like a hockey romance. It sounds cute, but I don't know. And nothing's calling me to it really. And I feel like I kind of want to read another thriller. So I might pick up another thriller as well. Maybe. We'll see. We'll see how the tables go. But with that being said, let's go ahead and pick our what's it called? Spin for our number. I took out 25 and 175 since those were the numbers we already got, which is kind of really scary because that leaves our lowest number at 50 pages and our highest at 300, and that's just a lot. But okay, we're gonna spin it. Let's see. Really, what am I hoping for? Sorry, not to stall, but I'm kind of hoping for somewhere between 75 and 150. That's what I'm manifesting. So let's see. 150! Wait. I'm psychic. Okay, perfect. 150. That's so doable. Oh my God, yay. That's how you know manifestation works, okay? So don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Perfect. Okay, so today we are doing 150 pages. This is really exciting. I feel like I can pretty easily do that after work and just get to reading. Oh, okay. Now I'm very excited. I'm going to I feel like I think that might have me finish a killer kind of romance. So I'll be able to start the other TBR book and then maybe another thriller, because that's just the mood I'm in. Oh, I hate to like continue going back to thrillers, but they're just what I love. So okay, it's quite a while later. Just finished up some work stuff, and I think I'm gonna go head over to the library and see if I can find the book I'm looking for, and maybe browse around a little bit as well. I've never been to this library, so I am excited to check it out. I might also listen to like a chapter of the book like on audiobook while I'm walking over there, potentially, if I can get it. I hope it's on like Spotify or something, but yeah, that's the plan. Let's go. I'm back from my little walk to the library. Oh, God, I just jumped off the couch. Rude. I'm back from my little walk to the library. Unfortunately, they were closed, so that was kind of a bummer. But then I did venture to a little bookstore that was like around the corner, because, I mean, it was around the corner. How can that be helped, you know? And yeah, I wandered around, spent some time just in there looking at things, which is always really fun, looking at some of the new releases. And then I did end up buying the book I was gonna get from the library, Between the World and Me. Normally, I don't think I would buy something like off the whim like that. I mean, kind of, but honestly, I kind of like when I go into a bookstore, I usually like have in mind what I'm gonna buy already. I don't usually just like go in and buy things. Like, obviously sometimes, but like, I don't know. I usually have something in mind, and like if I know I don't have a plan to buy something, I usually don't. Does that make sense? I don't know, I'm a Capricorn. But I thought, I mean, it's there. And honestly, I started listening to this on the walk over. I got it on Libby. And I just felt like there were things I wanted to like either highlight or make a note of, like actually write in this potentially. And obviously I would not be able to do that in a library book. So that's kind of why I like justified the purchase. I will be banning myself from buying any books until this time next month, probably. So a whole month, at least, minimum. But yeah, I mean, I'm glad I got it, and it was fun to walk around. So on my walk, I listened to about 34 pages of this, which I don't think there's any chapters. It's broken up almost by like photos, which is really cool. And another reason I'm glad that I got the physical copy, because I obviously want to see those. And then I think there's like a part 1, a part 2, and I don't know if I think that's it. It's a pretty short book, but I'm really liking it so far. It's very interesting to see how he talks about the like his experience as a Black person in America, and how he how he relates the like racial injustice to like direct harm to your physical body is really interesting. And yeah, I'm really liking it so far. It's I think supposed to be addressed to his son. There's a part where he's talking about his son, but it's not like in a letter or anything. Like, that's kind of, I guess, what I assumed it was going to be, like a little bit more direct, but there's just like nods to the fact that he's writing it for his son versus like I'm directly telling this to him, if that makes sense. But yes, I'm enjoying that. I think I'll probably read a few more pages of that, maybe get to the picture break kind of. And then switch over to, I think I'm going to try to read one chapter of Wuthering Heights today. Really want to finish that, so I need to continue reading it. Even though I really am in the mood to read my romance right now, I want to make some leeway in these other books. But yeah, I think that's all I have to update you about. I think I'm just going to get to reading.
Sorry for the bad lighting. I just don't want to turn on the lights right now. But I read a few more pages of, where did I put it? Of Between the World and Me. Just a few more, not a ton, honestly, but I definitely will, I think, spend more time reading that tomorrow's. And then I actually read, it's weird because, like, not all of these are, like, I think they are, actually. I think I read 3 or 4 chapters of Wuthering Heights. Maybe just 3. It's about 29 pages. I think it was, like, 29 pages. Which, I'm actually really loving this book. I feel like I keep saying that, but I'm just really loving this. This might honestly be one of my, like, new favorite classics. I think I mentioned that I honestly had this on my TBR because I really loved Jane Eyre. And I feel like, I don't know, this book is insane, first of all. Like, all these characters are crazy, really. But it's also just so well written and, like, I don't even know what to say, like, poetic, kind of masterful, like, the things that they are saying. Let me just read to you a part, which this is about to be a spoiler if you care. I'll try to put when it ends, but, like, let me just give you an example of what the vibes are of this book, because it's just, like, gut-wrenching. Like, I feel like that's the way I can describe it, like, the way that these characters interact. Okay, this big spoiler. So, may she wake in torment, he cried with frightful vehemence, stamping his foot and groaning in a sudden paroxysm of ungovernable passion. Why, she's a liar to the end. Where is she? Not here, not in heaven, not perished. Where? Oh, you say you cared nothing for my suffering, and I pray one prayer. I repeat it till my tongue stiffens. Catherine Earnshaw, may you not rest as long as I am living. You said I killed you. Haunt me then. The murdered do haunt their murderers, I believe. I know that ghosts have wandered on earth. Be with me always. Take any form. Drive me mad. Only do not leave me in this abyss where I cannot find you. Oh God, it is unutterable. I cannot live without my life. I cannot live without my soul. Super casual. Do you know what I mean? It's just, like, this book is, like, gut-wrenching, and I understand why this is so many people's favorites and has stood the testament of time. And also, what is crazy to me is that this is the only published Emily Bronte book. This is the only one, which I'm like, damn, girl. Like, this, you had a lot to say, it feels like, but it's hard for me to describe how I'm feeling. I'm really loving it. I feel like I need to, like, sit with my thoughts and my feelings a little more to properly, like, describe how I'm feeling, because right now I'm just like, it's so terrible, but in the best way. Anyways, okay, so now I'm at 64 pages total. So I have to do whatever is left of that to get to 86 pages. I just checked. So I will be reading A Killer Kind of Romance. I'm gonna shift to reading in my bed because it's pretty late and I'm gonna go to bed soon. But yes, that might be another thing that I just update you the next day, because after I read this 86 pages, I'm probably gonna go to sleep. But yeah. Also, I meant to say this earlier, but my boyfriend got me these for Valentine's Day. This is him and me. Pretty cute. Hello and welcome to day 4 of letting a wheel spinner decide how many pages I'm going to read today. I think this is actually going to be the last day, kind of cross my fingers, because I know I said I was originally going to do 5 days, but one, I want to get this out before the end of the month and it's already getting close and I still need to edit it. And 2, I'm reading my last 2 TBR books of the month and they are both, I'm not close. Well, one, I'm close to being done. I'm close to being done with Wuthering Heights. I think I only have 75 more pages of that. And then the other one, Between the World and Me, I'm only like 50 pages in.
but it's only a 150 page book, so it's not a lot. Like in between the two, actually no, I think I'm like 40 pages in. So between the two, I think I have like 100 and almost 60. I think a little bit less than that. So I'm hoping I just get a bigger number today and can finish them both today and be done with my TBR. So one, I can also film a wrap up, and two, just kind of be done. So yeah, this will probably be the last day. Okay, and now we are going to spin. Okay, that was perfect. So that's exactly what we wanted. Yay! So I will have to read potentially 40 more pages of a different book, which is fine. I think I could probably do that. Those are my goals. I'm reading Wuthering Heights, Between the World and Me, finishing both those today, which I'm really excited for because I just want to be done with Wuthering Heights. I do really like it, and I do think it's going to be like one of my new favorite classics, but like, if you read it, you know, like these characters are kind of insufferable. So I'm just like a little bit excited to be done with them, but I am really liking it as well. So that's said with a lightly. But yeah, and then I'm excited to read more Between the World and Me. I've been really enjoying it so far and find it very like insightful. And yeah, I am going to hopefully do some reading in the next few minutes. I need to finish a few things around the house and stuff, but hopefully I can get into some reading earlier in the day, and so I won't be struggling the last like 2 hours at midnight, whatever, to try to finish my page count. So let's do it. Okay, I am coming at you with a little update. I have done some things around my house and did some other work I need to do, and then went to the gym. Now I'm home. I've been listening to I listened to 2 chapters of Wuthering Heights while doing chores on audiobook, and then a little bit of Between the World and Me. So I'm going to continue reading that right now, and I'm going to what is it called, like dual read? What is it called? I don't know. I can't remember right now, but I'm going to listen to the audiobook and physically read it because it's read by the author, and I really like when books, especially if it's going to be a nonfiction book about his life, I really like that it's read by him. It makes it feel a little bit more personal, and I feel like I can hear his like inflection and tone in things that, you know, are supposed to have a certain tone to it. So I'm gonna do that right now. Yeah, I think those are my only updates. Getting close to finishing Wuthering Heights, so that's really exciting. And yeah, so I'm gonna probably spend some time reading Between the World and Me. So yes, I'm gonna get started on reading right now. I'm really excited to like dual read because I think it's kind of fun. And I'm gonna go get cozy on my couch. I have a smoothie. I already ate my leftovers for lunch, so I am ready to get cozy and start reading. I just finished both of the books that I had on my to read list today. I'm super excited about that. I just finished Wuthering Heights, and I finished Between the World and Me. However, I still have not reached my goal. The total with both of those, like finishing both of them, was only 158 pages, and I have to read 200 pages. So I think I already have like 1 or 2 books that I have in mind for next month's TBR, because I'm doing like the buzzword challenge that I've mentioned a few times, and I already have a few books picked out for that. So I think I'm going to try to read one of those tonight and to get like the last 40-ish pages, but I probably will not update until tomorrow, so I can like wrap up all my thoughts and stuff. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and start reading that. But yeah, I'm really happy that I got both those done. Those were like my 2 last books on like my official TBR for the month. So pretty excited to knock them out and complete my TBR. Except for Revolve, which I just don't think I was ever actually going to get to this month. I lied. Sorry. But yeah, anyways, okay, I'm going to get to reading. And that concludes my 4-day challenge of letting a wheel decide how many pages I'm going to read. I know I originally said I would do 5, but like I mentioned earlier, it was just a little bit easier to do 4, and I was already wrapping up my TBR anyway, so worked out. Being said, I did complete all 4 days of my reading time. I don't think I updated from my last clip, but I finished Wuthering Heights. I finished Between the World and Me, and that was only about, I think, 158 pages exactly. So I had to read like 40-ish more pages to complete my actual goal of 200 pages. I started reading This Is Why We Lied by Karen Slaughter. It's the next book in her Will Trent detective mystery thing. Last month, I think January, I read After That Night, which is actually the 11th book in her Will Trent detective series, but I was reading it for a Buzzword challenge that needed like after or before or something like that. And now I honestly really enjoyed it, and this is the next one. I'm also reading this for a Buzzword challenge, which is why I decided to read it for the 40 extra pages. And I succeeded. I got a little bit more than 40 pages. I think I got to 53 pages because, again, that's just where the chapter naturally ended. So in all, I read minimum, I'm not even including all the extra pages I read to like reach a certain chapter goal, just because I don't really want to go back and do the math. But all in all, I read 550 pages over 4 days. And yeah, I'm really proud of myself. This was really fun, and I feel like such a great way to get me like to complete books. Obviously, I always complete my TBR pretty much. I don't DNF that often. However, I just was nice to like really get in the mode of it, because if I was like starting a book out and I was starting at like 100 pages or wanted to get a certain amount in, I really got into like the good part before putting it down, which sometimes I feel like when I read, I don't read as many pages all as once usually. So sometimes I like get to a point where I'm like, oh, I'm not that interested, and I just needed to read a little bit further to like the juicy part and then I'm like hooked. So it was like fun to do that, and just fun to try to challenge myself and push myself to read like a lot of pages all at once. Like I said, I usually kind of break it up over the month, and I don't read like so much in one sitting. So this was really fun. I definitely will do this again, I think, and it was a really great way to get my reading goal. And yeah, I think that concludes this video. I had so much fun making it, and I hope you enjoyed watching it. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.